Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to Old Man Rambles. I'm going to talk about ICE for a moment, and I am not going to talk about the recent shootings, not directly. Now, primarily because I don't have all the facts. I don't think anyone really does. There are conflicting reports. The only video footage that actually is about that I've seen about the incident is the aftermath. The car running in circles because the driver was dead. We don't have any video of the actual shooting that I've seen. So at this point, I don't feel I have a good grasp of the situation to analyze that circumstance directly. What I do want to talk about is the lack of body cameras. Now, the current head of ICE and Maine's Senator Susan Collins have both said the reason that they do not have body cams is because of lack of funds. They both blame the government shutdown. The head of ICE blames Democrats directly. And that's the point I want to address. In 2025, when Trump came into office, he immediately tripled ICE's budget to over $26 billion. They had over $26 billion in 2025. And now they're saying they don't have enough money. That seems kind of odd to me, that they're pleading poverty with a budget of $26 billion. Now, the government shutdown may have slowed down some of that money, but don't tell me ICE wasn't getting paychecks for that amount of time, because certain agencies were still getting paid. These guys weren't working for free. But where did that money go? And that is part of the problem, because ICE obviously has equipment. They just didn't have body cams. So what equipment did they have? Well, they had uniforms. They had guns. And they had body armor. Now, uniform, they probably have a couple of uniforms, one to wear, one to spare. At least one to spare. That's going to be $100 or so. Standard issue police sidearm is usually a Glock of some kind. Those run between $300 and $500. Some are more expensive, but yeah. And the body armor. You can find some as cheap as $350, but I'm pretty sure standard issue law enforcement doesn't use the cheapest version possible. The best sets are between $1,200 and $2,100. But let's give them a rough average of, say, around $500 or $600 for police body armor. They had money for those things. All those people out there who have been doing the shooting, they may not all have him wearing body armor. But ICE has enough money for guns and body armor. But apparently not for cameras, for body cams. And I do find that bothers me, because none of them need body armor. They don't need guns either. But let's pull back for a minute. In 2024, when Biden was flooding the country with illegal criminals, one ICE agent was killed in all of 2024. One. In 2025, when Trump started his crackdown, three ICE officers were shot at. I specify shot at. They were not all injured. There have been no deaths. These people are not chasing violent criminals. They are hunting gardeners and dishwashers and maids and line cooks and carpenters. Roughly 5 to 7% of the hundreds of thousands of immigrants that have been deported are violent criminals. Of the remaining percentage that do have criminal convictions, almost all of them are traffic violations. These guys were caught speeding through a red light or through a stop sign or speeding, period. Over half of those, of the 5 to 7, after they take the 5 to 7%, over half of them do have convictions or pending charges, but almost all of those are for traffic violations. These are not violent criminals. That means that roughly 40% of them have no criminal convictions or charges pending against them. They're just here. But these guys have no need of body armor. They could have spent that money on body cameras, but they didn't. They spent it on guns and body armor because that was a priority to them, because one ICE agent died. They had to spend tens of millions of dollars on body armor. And it speaks to the mindset of these people, because one killed law enforcement agent is a horrific tragedy that must be avoided at all costs. And 10 dead innocent civilians is an acceptable statistic. Good hunting.